Right. Time to jack in.
Insert that Matrix gif here.
Yep. You could have got something better for the brain plug than the guitar lead. It's not hygienic.
That's gold-plated.
It's like, this is Fender, man. This is industry standard.
And that's going in the final. That's
Oh,
not getting cut out.
We're live.
We are live. Yes, we are.
Oh,
live.
good. I'm glad. I would hate to think we were missing this gold. In fact, my outtakes reel is probably more valuable than my actual final product. At least that's what I'm telling the Patreon crew. Anyway, welcome back. Liberation Industries, Whimsy and Metaphor, collaborating once again with another fine rural punk shenanigan, where we take you to the streets and woods and more woods and terrifying woods around McGulby, in the fantastically fictional area that is Australia's Outer West, at least in my mind. Well, I am Paddy, once again, in the GM chair, best supporting actor. Woo. Got some orange juice. Hopefully that'll be enough to keep me awake. Everything's fine. It's mid-afternoon. What's going on? But yes, last session, our brave, if not necessarily socially well-attuned heroes went to the pub. They stopped some violence breaking out and blew up some kegs by accident. They saw Owankers playing. It was great. We're not allowed to do any of these things. So on that happy note, we'll cycle back with more details in a moment. But starting with Lee, can we do people name, character name, the usual?
Yeah, certainly. So I am Lee. I will be playing as Acheron, or Ron for short. Nobody's sure which came first, the nickname or the one that sounds like an actual people name. They are a wild soul with a shoulder squirrel that is connected to something real big and nasty, but chooses to speak to them in, well, mainly pop culture quotes. Although some progress is being made on the teaching of proper grammar to this to this beast.
It's learned some verbs now.
Hi, I'm Betbear. I'm playing Madeline, who is our petite queer wrench monkey, who's about as good with machines as she is bad with people, and is building an incredibly elaborate Rube Goldberg machine to throw balls for her dogs.
Because you need to free up the time for the periods you spend bricking local government members up in their offices. I love it. I love the whole thing. Small towns, everybody. You got to make your own fun, and sometimes, just sometimes, that's what happens. Now, wandering on to the other side of the bargain, I suppose. When you're not making your own fun, you are struggling to make ends meet. And Sergeant Small did ask you, as a favor to him, while he was busy watching the truckers' union meeting, get occasionally. Like, people tried to break it up, but turns out truckers are good at beating people who try and break up their union meetings. Who'd have thought it, right? He's busy watching the truckers' union meeting and the steadily increasing pile of bodies that is being thrown out the door by their security. And he requested that you go and terrorize a youth cult that has taken over I say youth cult. Chimera cult is probably the official wording we'll be using in the Ruralpunk setting. A bunch of teenagers who have jacked up with one of the weird wild spirits and have started doing what it says out at an old hunting lodge in the Black Hills, which is, well, it's a thing that happened, but kicking some sense into them did not really appeal to the morality of our heroes. So they had a chat to Abby Omega in the hope that maybe this chimera can be rehabilitated, or at least something. So we are sort of running a con game on one of our other contacts, which I think is a rather spectacularly forged in the dark thing to be doing. I do not know whether we'll be able to generate much positive spin for this with Sergeant Small. but it has given me a loaded gun for what to do with some of your consequences. So yay, my job has become easy. Maybe I can sleep through the session and no one will know. Get me those open eyeglasses. Oh wow, I'm the only one on the team that doesn't wear glasses. I gotta fix it. We'll need to call.
Bold of you to assume that my glasses haven't been open eyeglasses this whole time.
I was about to say that's actually.
I was gonna say
That's how I got through uni.
Yeah, just no assumptions here, gang. But questioning everything.
VR tech.
Yeah.
AR, augmented reality tech. It's yeah.
Awake reality. I love it. All right.
Hilariously, AR can also stand for asleep reality. Is it awake or is it asleep? This is the problem that it is creating.
Schrodinger's nap. All right. So on that happy note, your mission, and you have loosely chosen to accept it, having enjoyed the odd giggling and maypole dances of the midnight garden that somehow exists in Abby's warehouse. I guess we hit opening montage, I suppose. So where do we find the characters as they're starting to gear up? Like, where have we decided to kick things off from here?
I think given how Acheron spent the last few days according to the last session, I'm pretty sure Madeline would have had to come and pick him up at the...
I think Madeline's coming around and dragging Acheron into the buggy.
Yeah, Acheron is ready. Acheron did get packed. Acheron was also... so, here is the type of ready that Acheron is. Acheron is the like, packed last night and slept in their clothes ready. So that when it comes time...
So Acheron came willingly. I didn't have to, like,
came
drag them out of the...
There was a little dragging going on. There was a little get the fuck out of the bed, Acheron, going on. But they did make sure that they were easy to get out of bed in the morning, which is what constitutes a doing you a favour by their standards, as we've learned.
Prepared to go, but not willing to go. I love it. That's so good.
And I feel like the sleeping bag probably went into the gunny sack that you've got, so we just see Acheron sort of folded up on the bed in their jacket.
The sleeping bag has a hood.
Yeah, of course it does.
They all do.
Yes.
You just made sure you got one that was big enough that you could fit the whole way in and put the pillow thing over the top.
Yeah. However, they have also slept in their clothes, so they are now wearing two hoods.
Yep. Just hoods on hoods. And I do kind of love the idea that Madeline does have a key to the lair. It's just wake up.
Yep.
Time to wake up.
I'm sure she could pick the lock anyway, even if she didn't.
I'm
just like with a finger, just stick it in and wiggle it around.
I'm almost certain that at some point Acheron gave Madeline a key because they didn't want to have to deal with the thought that Madeline could pick the lock if she really wanted to.
Again, just with a finger, just goes straight in and somehow does it.
Yeah, and Acheron just prefers the idea that they've given Madeline a key to the idea that it wasn't really necessary in the first place.
So yeah, we see Acheron crawling out of one hood and into another as the coffee machine goes, and the two of you crawl out with and sort of throw your sacks into the back of the buggy. Excellent. Cool. So I guess we kicking off as the two of you sort of climb in, eyeing that cold, sort of grim morning light as it hovers over the hills. You look out at your destination and sort of clinging to the horizon and think, like, oh, this is gonna suck. So we get to the point of our set the stage questions. So if any of you, I am looking at the Ruralpunk website once again. For those of you following along at home, it's all there on ruralpunk.net.
It's also in the Twitch TV description, so
yeah,
scroll down.
Look at us go. We got the right title on it this time.
We do. We really do this time.
Victory! Yeah, if either of you want to jump on and ask me some of those player questions, I will respond with questions of my own.
How could this escalate local tensions? Would normally be a good question, but I think I know damn well how we're going to get in trouble already.
Are you ever not in trouble?
I mean, Sergeant Small threatened to shoot me last session, so...
A little bit.
What detail of the threat's operation is often overlooked?
Okay, so yeah, look, you know that you are dealing with basically it's not fully official. Like because their parents sort of know where they are. It's not considered like a group of runaways. But the fact that this is, like in your own head is like, yes, we are dealing with a bunch of basically runaway teenagers. But I think what's overlooked is ultimately, well, before they took over that lodge, the hunters tended to keep it pretty clear of wildlife. And that's not so much a thing anymore. So a lot of the wildlife has come back around.
We're going to get attacked.
Like the kids know, the kids know the ways in and out. You don't.
Cool. We're going to get rocks thrown at us by
damn possums again. Every time. All right.
Damn those Mononoke possums.
We just want to eat people, bruh. It's cool. We know you talk to. All right. Cool. Right, back at Pepe. How do these threats scare or intimidate their enemies?
I feel that there's the presence of the chimera that is, I guess, being worshipped is I guess an ever-looming factor. So I'm sure the parents have driven up there once or twice to try and get the people back, but there's something there that is strong enough and unknown enough that it has hampered all attempts to stop it. And I guess even that, even with the information that we got from Abby Omega, we still don't know exactly what the entity that's created the cult around itself is or wants or what it's capable of. And with the wild strain, I guess that's enough to be threatening and commanding in and of itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a biggie. It's we don't know what that thing is. We don't know what it's capable of. Nice. All right, Lee, you want to give us a question?
Yes. I'm going to ask, who is an unseen ally?
Ooh. Hey guys, it's Middle Maggie. No, I mean she would 100% come along if
and
you
she
asked.
would absolutely be seen.
Have a terrible time. An unseen ally. Well, look, funnily enough, and this is, I feel like this is something Ron would have an idea of, if not necessarily like the idea of. The squirrel. It's probably better clued into any of this than anyone, and if you can get it to talk, it's actually going to have a lot of good intel on what this thing is and what it's capable of. And also Middle Maggie, she's 100% game if you want it. She's still angry about that possum. She wants to kick some chimera butt.
Okay.
All right.
Shoulder squirrel.
The
plot.
Yeah, weirdly, it's who the fucking know, right?
Also, literally unseen.
Yeah. It's I guess the unseen side of that, you've given it a sort of manifestation, but I think the unseen element is it doesn't what's the word? It hasn't opened up. Like it hasn't opened up about this. Like it's you don't ever. I don't know if Acheron actually considers whether it's helping you or if it's helping you towards something. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's a maybe. Hmm. Cool. What potential danger worries you the most?
I think Acheron has a niggling little thing in the back of their mind that they're also connected to something that's bigger than they know out in the weirdness, and not necessarily the idea that these kids might also be in some way connected to the entity on the other end of the shoulder squirrel, but that the two entities might somehow have some sort of connection going on. And there's just a lot of questions there that Acheron's really bothered by, but hasn't really acknowledged that they're bothered by yet.
Yeah. On that note, how did Madeline pitch this one to Acheron? Like as a as an idea? It's like
Which bit?
the shift in plans from it's like, okay, we're going to go kick their butts because Sergeant Small made us to. Maybe we can rehab the monster. And I need you to do it.
I think just appealing to the fact that I don't think Ron wants to like rough up teenagers.
I feel like that would have worked, to be honest.
Not assaulting kids is like that's a pretty good move. I think it's the yeah. The fact that it involved Abby at all is not something Ron's happy about.
Is it something Ron knows? Or did Madeline manage to sort of talk around that point to avoid sort of bringing up the sore topic?
I don't think Madeline has the wordsmithing skills to like do that.
Fair, okay.
Maybe
I was going to say the story falls down pretty fast if you try and talk around that point. It's like, Madeline, you've never expressed any interest in chimeras before. How do you know this?
Fair enough. Just wanted to throw it out there. So yeah, no, Ron knows, and I think that the caveat then is that Madeline deals with Abby. Acheron never has to be within like line of sight of Abby at any point during this, and everything will be fine.
So,
yes, hello GM, I am saying this out loud and in public.
It's fine, no, it's alright, I don't mind.
I know you don't mind, it's whether I will later down the road.
You know, so I will presume that we have politely declined the generous offer of support from the what did we end up calling them? I did write it down. From the Chimera cult in town. Alright, I'll pull up my notes, but that's alright. Would either of you like to ask a second question?
I'm not sure. I feel
like we're pretty au fait with the unseen and biggest threat elements of this. Probably got about the size and shape of it, and we definitely know how local tensions could escalate, so...
Yeah.
Hopefully with not being shot is...
It's always a good day when you don't get shot.
Yeah, generally. Cool.
I feel like there is a third option to resolving it. So there's muscle up the kid. Muscle up? That's not... There's rough up the kids.
Yeah.
There's bring the chimera to Abby. But there's also somehow get the kids to leave without assaulting them.
Yeah.
And I'd be intrigued to hear your plan. Hear your plan for that. Yeah.
Your plan to try and figure out how we're going to do it.
We can convince them the house is haunted by something other than the thing they've got there.
I don't know if I made this joke last session as well, and I apologise to our listeners if I did, but I feel like there's a little merit to the idea of Acheron going, Arnie quotes, right in your ear, forever.
So yeah, can we deprogram them by just showing them how awful this is?
So like scaring them straight, kind of.
You're trying to host an intervention. It might work. Yeah, like you probably need to have a little muscle on an inn for that, which could be doable. We've got a couple of contacts that could manage it. But yeah.
Yeah, I think Acheron is actually invested in finding the chimaera, so
Okay,
I think
cool,
there is probably some whether or not they take it to Abby in the end. I think Acheron's probably a bit too interested in finding out what the chimera actually is to go through with to really like actually go through with a plan. They might agree. They would probably agree if you posed a plan to them, but I'm pretty sure this is going to end up with them attempting to confront it in the end.
Yep, that works, yeah. I mean, if it's out there.
And hey, if it is connected to the thing that's on the other end of the shoulder squirrel. Juicy.
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong? All right.
It's just got a friendly hard line into your brain. Sweet.
Of course.
Ian puts on his glasses like, do go on.
Cool. So I guess
But I
are we looking? You go, Lee.
I was going to say, I think the first step is probably talk to the kids first anyway, just to get an idea of exactly what it is that we're dealing with, when it's likely to come by, what it's likely to do. Show up as, look, we're weirdos too, we're not here to judge. Just tell us everything, kind of. And not even, like, we're not even here to stop you, we just want to know when it's coming and what it is.
Yeah, cool. I like that. Do we just like drive up there, or do we want to see if like Toby knows anyone in it and is able to actually get us up there without being attacked by?
Yeah,
That's
I was going to
idea,
say,
actually.
Toby could give you the intro that would be more like so that they would actually be expecting you rather than on the defensive immediately.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
Easy as well. Look, you go to Toby's lair. Like, you find him under like two of his pals on the couch. You just sort of shake it. It's like you excavate the blankets. Like, Toby, we need your help. Guys, it's early, and you look up and it's 3 PM. And,
yeah.
But yes.
I feel like Acheron still sympathizes. I feel like 3 PM is still early for Acheron too.
Yeah, and like it's Shadowrun breakfast.
Yeah.
But Toby comes more or less around to the idea. It's like, yeah, I go up there sometimes, but they're not really into phones and that. I mean, it'd probably be a matter of introducing you all in person. I mean, I can do it, but, you know, like, they know me. They don't really know you two so much. I mean, you know, no. Starts making like a...
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what sort of disturbing thing he could be putting into a smoothie at this point, but it's like... Dunk of beef jerky.
I'm gonna steal a quote from Dream Daddy, but what do you mean you're into health? You're on a health kick now. I once watched you drink a jar of marinara sauce and say it's totally a smoothie, bro.
Something like that. Yeah. Fishes around in the back of the fridge, pours something into a blender, and so...
Yep, it comes out of a tin. Oh, those... It's gotta have as one of the ingredients those tins of, like, the mushroom sauce. Like the mushrooms in butter in a tin that you put in
on stake.
On stake, yeah.
Yeah. He gets his blended fungus together and
existed.
It's like, look,
Yeah.
Toby can introduce you.
Yep.
Cool.
I think, Acheron's very, very keen for Toby to introduce and take some of the difficulty out of this.
Right? And, he sort of nods along with that and is like, yeah, not gonna lie, they're, common lingo might be a bit of a, you'll find out. And just starts wandering out the front, comes back in, puts shoes on, and then wanders back out again towards the buggy, drinking his fungus juice. All right, so what sort of plan do we reckon we're pulling then? I mean, it's not quite barter, not quite deception. I guess like what are you attempting to achieve here? I mean, part of it is obviously the intervention element, which is it's kind of a barter in that you're offering like an escape, I guess, but the other side of it is you're also trying to capture the damn thing, which I could absolutely see being deception or what have you. What do you reckon?
Rally? Kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm seeing like...
It could be deception, couldn't it?
It could be deception, because it's got the lure, and it's also manipulation of Sergeant Small and to some extent Abby as well.
Yeah, it's like you are running cons on cons with this one. So it's like, all right.
Fortunate that neither of us are any good at the person skills at this point.
And we've got to remember that we've got to roll with our conditions as well this time, because I absolutely do still have 2 of those.
Yeah, so really enough, the most socially competent member of the wrecking crew is Toby, who is incidentally the dropkick son of the fellow who sent you out here to rough some dropkicks.
Look, it's not so much how much charisma you have. It's the situation in which you are placed.
Yep, things are about to get interesting. Nope, I am all for this. We'll call it deception, right?
Let's call it deception.
We're deceiving Sergeant Small by thinking, like, trying to have him believe that you're gonna do this. You're deceiving the kids, maybe, to let you get at their patron.
Yep.
It is a creature with intelligence. I'm not going to devalue its identity there. And you're probably going to be deceiving it as well, and probably Abby at some point. Let's pile it on.
I'll have a side of fries, thanks.
Yep, one con with the lot and everyone in town involved. Oh my. Yeah, cool. That seems about right. So, and I mean, like, your opener is basically just fronting up and seeing if they're ready to talk. It can work.
All right.
Cool.
What kind of load are we running?
I think...
How hard are we negotiating?
I think Acheron probably is going... I'm going to say light this time. Because I think they're planning...
Usually best
they're planning
stuff.
Yeah, planning to rely quite a lot on the shoulder squirrel and the ability to see and know things rather than having packed extensively for the trip. So
it's going to be normal for Madeline. When you've got a whole lot of like containers on your buggy, you got to fill them with something.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's legit.
Yeah. screw the tuxedo. I'm driving. Easy as. All right. So, engagement roll. I will check your little community sheet. see if you have more bonds than grudges, and let's see, 1, 2, 3 bonds. Oh my, it's close. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, 4 bonds, 3 grudges. So that's a +1. That's nice. 2 dice there. How many favors have we got kicking around, team?
I have 1.
I have 2.
Because I attempted to spend favors to get rid of a condition and ended up with another condition because I rolled a double 2. So
turns out Chippy is not as good as for like treating frostbite as you'd hoped.
Turns out Acheron isn't as good at not worrying the shit out of people as they hoped.
Also a thing. Okay, so yeah, like we do, however, have more tension than we do favors. As look, stuff happened. Okay, stuff happened.
Yeah.
So that brings us back down to 1. Do we feel that this plan advances our ideals or rebellions?
I mean, we're deliberately going against law enforcement. I could call that as anarchy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, trying to handle this at a community level rather than Sergeant Small. Yeah. It's like it's the one element of law enforcement in town. That guy so much.
There may also be an argument to be made for equity, in that we're trying to address it with the help of the kids and the input of the kids, rather than just going in and being like, we are going to fix things. We're actually going in and like consulting with them and.
Yeah, 100%. So that brings us back up to 2. Nice. Is this plan particularly? It's like, are we forceful? Does it exploit a weakness, or are they strong against this approach? I mean, they're a little brainwashed, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to be strong against this approach. Yeah, it's still okay to talk to people. So it's let's call that one a neutral.
Yeah. Unless you count the approach. Unless you count the approaches against the chimaera, and then you've got to consider whether the shoulder squirrel gives us an in, but probably not to the extent that it would be an extra point, given that Acheron doesn't communicate with it very well.
Yeah, I think at the moment that's neutral at best. Yeah. Cool. So you got 2 dice. Who wants to throw the engagement roll?
Lee.
All right. No numbers. Alrighty. 3 and a 1.
Hooray! It begins. Right. Okay. Cool.
I don't like it when you make that noise.
No, all good. Just processing in my brain. Just thinking about the serious trouble you all can be in right from the start. So where is Toby sitting in the buggy? Like, what's the setup? And has he got like music playing in the background?
He's directing us.
Yeah, I think
like if there are specific ways we need to go up there to not be attacked by something on the way up. Then he's going to be in the front with me.
Yeah, I think Acheron's in the back holding on to the roll cage.
Nice. Yep. The traditional tray, right?
We can have seats in the back. I think the tray's been swapped out. There are seats. They might be facing backwards.
Yeah, backwards facing. I think Acheron is still holding on to the roll cage, but.
I also enjoy the Madeline case of pursuers configuration. It's like, look under your chair. Yes, it's a grenade launcher.
It's versatile.
Get back. Very good. So, yeah, you see Toby just sort of like as you sort of jumble it, they're sort of bouncing along the sort of dirt roads. We see you peel off the main strip and start heading up what like it looks like a strip between a couple of properties, just your classic fire access trail. We go along a lot of these, don't we? But hey, country times. My town was less rural and more just literally the bush, I think. This might be part of the problem. Yeah, you sort of start bungling up into the hills. We get a couple of upping and downing. And as we are sort of trundling along this road, Toby, with a sort of cigarette hanging out of his mouth, is sort of poring over this. It's a road map, but it's got these sort of hand drawn little annotations all over it, and they look like hieroglyphics to you. I mean, it is pretty wild the additional material they have put on this fucking hiker's map. It's like, and he sort of glances up, glances down, and sort of points you the right way each time the road falls. And you come down onto like a stretch of flatlands, a sort of like low scrubby kind of grass. The sort of way that a lot of these old properties will look if they're left to go to seed for a while. Just sort of like waist deep grass, a couple of big gnarled looking trees, and some hovering thunderheads in the middle distance. Out ahead of you, you can see the sort of cluster of buildings on the hillside that sort of make up the lodges. And as the sort of like Toby sort of like just stop, and the buggy slows and you stop. And in front of you there is one of those gnarled, leafless, ancient-looking trees. And and there is someone hanging from their wrists in a kind of cruciform tie between some of the branches ahead of you, a fair ways off the ground. And Toby says, like, okay, that's new. Glances at his map, glances back up again. It's like, that's new. Yeah. Okay.
Oh no. Do they look alive?
Yeah, you think so?
I think the shoulder squirrel probably. And I feel free to veto this because this is a little bit sort of hinty at the plot, and I'm not sure which direction you want to take this. But I get the feeling that the shoulder squirrel at this point whispers, "What we've got here is a failure to communicate."
Yeah, that seems about right.
Yeah.
Like that. I endorse the squirrel on that one.
And I think Acheron's going to try and roll a scan to see if they can see any other details about this scene.
Yep,
they
100%.
look pretty alive.
Yeah.
How are they tied up?
Yep.
Have they been there long?
There's occasional movement and like laboured breathing. So yes, you sort of survey the scene.
Yeah. And that is a 5 and a 6, so that's a lot better than our engagement roll.
Yeah, you take in a great deal of detail. Sweet. Particular question you're after, or do you just want a general update?
I think, well, the particular question I'm after, I don't think I can actually see, which would be what the fuck is going on. But I think I think the closest I'm going to get to that is, can I see things like how long they've been up there and whether there's anything that would indicate whether this is a sacrificial type thing or a punitive type thing. Did they fuck up and they've been put out here, or is this like some weird...
Is it voluntary?
Yeah, is it voluntary?
Cool. Yeah.
I'm looking at a Chaucer from A Knight's Tale situation here.
Little bit. Yes, you look it over. It must have been up, like, judging from the state of their chest and shoulders. Yeah, they've probably been up there like at least a day. Like, oh, okay, that's not great. Just like looking at the way the knots have sort of started to go. If you had to guess, like, if it was, you feel for yourself, if it was sacrificial, they'd have been more deliberate about it. Like, like this seems like, they use nails and a spike. Like, that's traditional. This seems like it is something that is meant to be undone at the tail of it. So yeah, that sort of guess at either punitive or, as you said, possibly a kind of purification ritual.
Yeah.
But it also functions as a hell of a warning sign. You sort of glance around and see, it's like, oh wow, there's like, okay, none of those none of that wildlife that people mentioned is around.
Alright, so Acheron's gonna sort of stand up in the back of the truck, lean towards them on the roll cage, and shout, "Hey, can you talk? Do you want us to get you down, or are you fine like that?"
You get an in response.
Acheron's gonna mutter, "Well, that's hardly helpful."
You're free to try and crack that with some social roles, but yeah, it's a complicated
The
situation.
only social I have is in force. I'm not sure how that's gonna work in this situation.
Just tell us. You could just be like, or we'll leave you there, and you know.
Moan once, forget me down twice, for I'm good where I am. Yeah, I think that's probably Acheron's route here. It's moan once, forget me down twice, for I need to stay up here a bit longer, thanks.
You you just see them descend into like a sort of feverish muttering. One of them creeps open and fixes you with a kind of like a wild fucking stare.
Okay.
Like they're not right in their own head at the moment.
Okay. In that case, is there anything that the shoulder squirrel can tell me about this? Acheron might try and tap the shoulder squirrel for a bit of knowledge as to whether this is what to expect from this situation, kind of.
Well, yeah, its initial response is like, this is not my tree.
Alright, Acheron's gonna look down into the cab of the truck and go, "Well, I'm tapped out, and the squirrel doesn't like the tree. So let's, anybody else got ideas?" I am dying, by the way, to know what Toby thinks of all of this.
Yeah, the phrase "stunned mullet" springs immediately to mind. It's like this.
How
not
outside the normal, even for Acheron in town, is this conversation as far as Toby's concerned?
Oh, good point. Yes, like Toby's a tad distracted. Who would have thought? But like this is not the easy drive he was expecting.
No.
And the fact that he probably did take something on the way up here, it's like, yeah, I don't think he even blinks at the mention of the squirrel, but it's like that can do some serious bad stuff, like long term to your joints. Yeah, that's not good.
All right, Toby, help me get in town.
You got a ladder?
We could stand on top of the truck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how high up are we going? Like if we drive the buggy up underneath, stand on top of the roll cage.
Yeah, you could probably work it. Be a bit like like tree limb felling, but yeah, you could work that. Back up the buggy onto this sort of rough patch under the tree. Yeah, and yeah, what you got is a very lanky, young, masculine-looking, very rangy, sort of long raven hair. Yeah, sort of dangling there. Probably a lot more rope than they needed, but done its job. So yeah, I'm calling this a roll as well because there is more at play here than just a person in a tree. So,
of course there is.
Whatever you would like to hit that with, Beppe.
I'm going to try and hit it with finesse, if that works for you.
That seems right, yeah. Trying to get them down without causing any more trouble.
All right. This one I can do.
Yay!
If I can type.
And Acheron has finesse as well. Can they assist?
If you want to, yeah. Throw that dice.
I've hit a 6 and a 1.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, Acheron's probably pretty useless.
I asked the squirrel, and it's like, fuck's sake, thinks Madeline, and drives the buggy up underneath. What's your plan of attack on that one? You're just going to cut him down?
Yeah, hopefully in a way that doesn't tear limbs out of their sockets even more than probably, like maybe take an arm off, use the rope from that arm to put it around the waist, and then take the other arm off. And
that's the tricky bit. And you sort of deploy Toby as like a wedge. Just get him to stand next to you and hold this poor fella's stomach. As you are cutting the semi-conscious figure down, and there is like a lurching moment of just, okay, hold him, and get him back down into the back. You do hear a couple of mutterings as to words incomplete and purification, and long teeth. That's what you get.
Okay, Madeline thinks that we definitely need to take the kid back and get the kid medical attention, or at least be seen to. I mean, like, doesn't seem right to cut him down and just leave him in the back of the buggy while we try and figure this out. Especially if he's been put up there, like, by people who are going to grab him and do it again.
Well, Acheron has a rank in doctor, and I believe has a medical tools. And has probably brought the first aid kit along just in case. So
yeah, I was going to say, it's like it is a very long and bumpy ride back to town.
Yeah, so even if we continue on, Acheron can try and give the kid first aid before...
You fold the little seat out into like, back position, yeah.
At least try and get something, some aloe on that... on that
rope burn.
Yeah. Alright.
Yeah, 100% sling it. You'll sort of take a moment to take in the vast fucking distance to literally anywhere.
Yeah.
Even the hills seem to be sort of what's the word? Flinching away from you a little. It's just like you and that tree in the center of this vast open place.
Yep.
Rusty barbed wire fence next to it.
All right, that is a 3.
Okay, cool. Is Doctor attached to one of your hurts?
No, it is not.
Cool. Yeah, I'm just trying to remember which one you had.
I've
Finesse was attached to one of my hurts.
Yes. Can you just throw us an extra dice while you're here, then, Bethany? You better get that handled.
Yeah, mine are hurt and guilt, so that's meat, bod, and ego.
Yeah.
6.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Cool. You rise above on that one. Yeah. So with finesse, that would be tagging into your hurt, right? Yeah. So you're. Yeah. Well, yeah. Look, that makes a lot of sense. Not only the fact that you are injured yourself means you're actually very careful about this. And yeah, as you were bringing him down, you get a little something extra. As you are bringing the young fella down, you notice, like, just under the neck of his shirt, in between the fucking sun and wind burn, it looks like he's been, like, daubed with some sort of paint. Like someone sort of put little sigils on him. You don't recognize them, but yeah, like, you notice it's like he's been painted, which is pretty strange.
Did you just nearly fall off the desk, did you, kitty cat?
Okay. That is weird.
All right.
Yeah.
So can Acheron then try and work out these sigils? Or at least show them to the shoulder squirrel? I don't think they'd know about them themselves, but they can definitely show them to the squirrel and see what the squirrel says.
Oh yeah, with a brief sort of health check, you sort of check over the joints, and yeah, there's strain on shoulders, strain on chest.
Yeah.
Not something you can treat without weeks of physiotherapy. And yeah, like, as you sort of take a step back from the back of the buggy, sort of, like, the hood tilts towards the horizon, we get this lurch of vertigo as the hills in the distance fall away from you. The tree, once again, like a pin in the center of a collapsing building, stays perfectly still, but everything else stretches. And the squirrel starts singing, "It's a wide open road. It's a wide open road. Now you can go any place that you want to go." Yeah.
I think Acheron's gonna sort of jump up onto the buggy, and because the kid's taking up the 2 seats, sort of perch on the side of the truck bed, or whatever's replacing the truck bed, hold onto the roll cage and say, hey, we should get out of the open. We're not quite at Hotel California, Bad Bird. I don't like the singing.
Yeah. Madeline, you're seeing this too. Sort of sudden loss of focus on the horizon, yeah. Like the lurching of a boat underneath you almost.
Must be.
Is there anywhere... There's nowhere other than, like, the tree that's kind of not doing this, is there? Everything's just kind of...
It feels like your immediate surroundings are stable, but the further away something is, the more the distortion hits.
Okay. I feel like the fact that the tree is stable makes it weirder, so let's get away from the tree. Madeline asks Acheron to hold on to the kid in the back.
Yeah.
And tells Toby to direct us to the lodge.
It's like Toby gives you sort of nose-bleeding double take, and it's like, yeah, should be simple. We're falling off the end of the map. I can direct us to the... End of sentence. I don't know which way is up, man. What the hell is this?
Looks at it and goes, is there anything else? Can I drive straight there, or do I need to take a specific route?
The road is... We can try. It's like... My assumptions leading up to this were that the road would still be here.
Alright, as we go, Acheron's going to continue to scan and look for other disturbances, anything oncoming or upcoming, or anything that just feels a bit off. Going to do that with scan.
Alright.
And, I think slightly more immediately, as we're driving off,
yep.
Madeline's going to take an analyze roll to see if the effect is lessening or reverting as we're getting away from the tree. Or if, like, if this is something that has, like, happened, or if it's, like, an effect due to proximity to something. Or...
So, yeah, as the buggy starts to crawl along, you're taking it slow. Seems the responsible thing to do. I mean, you can fang it if you want to. I mean, that's fine as well. But, I sort of see as the buggy sort of starts to rock. It's almost like the road begins to swim into focus in the sort of few meters around you, and as you depart from the tree, it sort of stretches and claws its way up into the sky before sort of blinking out of existence. In the distance.
Right.
Yeah, you hear the loud noise of like a rusty gate sort of swinging. And it's like Toby glances, around himself and is like, right, not the worst I've been, not the darkest hole I've fallen down. Still not what I expected.
Oh, God.
And Lee, was that a scan roll you were throwing?
Yeah.
Oh no, this was better. Okay, yeah.
While I do that, Acheron's gonna sort of mutter to Toby, yeah, they always take you by surprise, don't they? Okay, that's another 2 + 2. Thank you very much, dice.
Whee! All right. Well, yeah. Okay. So we hear that. Like I said, that rusty kind of creaking sound, and the wind beginning to sort of pick up, whipping around the barbed wire of the fences, sit to either side of the trail, and sort of humming away in that creaking sound, and the squirrel just starts to sing louder and louder. It is belting that fucking Triffid song end to end, and then when it gets to the end, it starts again. And then as you sort of hit you hit a sort of 4 point arc in the like a 4-point intersection in the road, and then just it stops completely, and the sky turns red.
I like the impression that the shoulder squirrel stops just sort of a split second before the sky goes. So you sort of get the truck the buggy sort of rumbling along, and then you just hear Acheron in the back going now and there as they get surprised by the thing stopping, and then as the others are like, wait, what? Sky
and
goes.
the brakes have come on, and as the car just pulls to a stop, the sky goes.
Yeah.
Um,
This is absolutely what I'm seeing in this situation.
And as everyone has their moment to panic in this island in the middle of a heat haze universe, we start to see, and one by one and one, what look like silhouettes, humanoid, hopefully, beginning to resolve out of that haze around you. Sort of like they do a little hop at the distance the fence should maybe be, getting taller and then shorter again, broadening and stretching as they come closer and closer into focus.
Oh, good.
And that might be our first break. It's like we're about an hour in.
Yeah, about an hour in.
That metal on metal shrieking growing louder and louder as these figures begin to resolve in a ring around you, coming closer and closer. That's our cliffhanger. We'll sit on that maybe.
crap.
Alrighty.
Would you like to take 5?
Yeah, take 5. Alright.
Woo!